Welcome to Wizards Whimsy. I'm your host, Patrick. Today we're talking about the cEDH and if there is a need for a rules committee. It is still a very hot topic online, on Facebook and commander groups and the competitive commander groups. It's a discussion that just keeps going on and on and on. So apparently, whenever the rules committee tried to come out, they tried to start one. It was trying to address a need, and that need has not gone away. So that topic will probably still continue to go on. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at how some of the discussion is actually going. There are comments in the group chats with everyone discussing bans and unbans. I'd like to point out no other format currently has as many unique decks constantly placing in the top 8 to 16 as our beloved format. Now, I've mentioned this before in a previous video that of the top 10 decks, 50% is some kind of a Grixis or Grixis shell deck. And they also go on to say, we have a EDH RC. If you want something banned, start jamming Thoracle combos in casual and jam more docksides at casual tables. And on the other side, there's the EDH Rules Committee that says that if cEDH wants a curated ban list, then they need to do it themselves. My feelings on cEDH as far as having its own rules committee, I think that it would be a good idea, but it has to be done the right way. And the previous attempt was not the right way. And I think it's something that the community really needs to discuss. And they need to actually have an open mind instead of being like, oh no, we already have a rules committee. No, that rules committee has actually stated that if cEDH wants a curated ban list, cEDH needs to curate their own ban list. They're telling the cEDH community that it's time to put your big boy pants on and you need to develop your own rules committee and come up with your own ban list. And I think that is actually a healthy thing to do. There already is a separation. And when people talk about it, they do break it down to EDH versus cEDH or TEDH. There is a separation on how they talk about the formats. So again, formats, meaning multiple. So people do recognize it in how they talk and how they address it, that it is a separate format. So there should be a separate rules committee for that. Now, what that rules committee is going to look like is something that the community actually needs to discuss and address. And by all means, it's something that, people need to just step back from, not be all butthurt about, and, put their big boy pants on and sit down and actually have a serious discussion, because that is what is needed. Whiners and criers are both sides. That does not help. You need to actually sit down and come up with, hey, this is what we need to address the issues with this format. There is a discrepancy in the power level of what the most played decks are. There's a discrepancy in the seeding order and how that is affected in the multiplayer. I mean, if you're having anywhere from a 10 to 20% range of who wins based on whether or not they're in seat 1 or seat 4, that's a pretty big discrepancy for whoever's in seat 4 to try to overcome. So that is something that should be addressed and should be addressed, at the start. The tournament scene does need an organized rules committee that addresses the problems of competitive commander. And that is something that should be addressed, and that is the first thing that should actually be discussed. What is needed from the rules committee? What are the requirements for being on the rules committee? And how is this going to help the competitive scene? And it needs to make sure that it is addressing that scene, not just in the US, but globally, because cEDH is a global format. The cEDH Rules Committee is needed, and how it is built is up to the cEDH community. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how to address a rules committee for competitive play, what the requirements that you would ask be met in order to have a rules committee, and what you would expect from the rules committee, and how to go about creating something and balancing out the competitive format. Leave that in the comments below. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like button, and share this video out. I would really like to gauge what everybody's thoughts are on a rules committee for cEDH. So until next time, keep slinging those spells.